There is one incredibly easy way for you to make amazing violin progress this year, but most of you won't do it. I'm Tobias Murphy, and this is Murphy Music Academy. Of course, if you really want to make some great violin progress this year, then you're going to want to shoot an email to admin@murphymusicacademy.org to set up a trial lesson with myself or any one of our wonderful teachers here at Murphy Music Academy. And if you're a returning viewer, then go ahead and hit that like button because we both know you're going to like the video, and you might as well hit the subscribe button and the little bell while we're at it. And of course, if you're new to the channel, then you hit the like button anytime you dang well please. So, this one thing that will make you have amazing progress this year is practicing individual techniques for 5 to 10 minutes a day. Now, some of you may be thinking, well, that kind of sounds a little bit obvious, but I know it isn't because in my teaching experience, none of you are actually doing this. Maybe you think you are, but you're probably not, at least not in the way that I'm going to outline in this video. For example, let's say that you want to improve on a specific technique, let's say spiccato. If you are trying to learn or improve your spiccato, one of the worst things you can do is spend a lot of time with dedicated practice to it every day. While this kind of practice can sort of help you learn to apply a new technique within a piece of music, that kind of practice is not going to so easily transfer to other pieces or to your technique generally. You'll likely just be able to kind of do spiccato within that one section that you practiced. Instead, you need to actively and consistently train your spiccato with a designated 5 to 10 minutes of your daily practice time dedicated to perfecting its execution. And then comes the hard part, and also the reason why none of you are practicing this way. You will continue to practice these 5 to 10 minutes of pure spiccato for the next 6 months to a year, only marginally increasing speed and complexity as you feel comfortable enough to do so. Sorry, but not sorry, solid violin technique takes a long time to learn. But ironically enough, it actually takes longer to learn when we try to force it instead of when we try to let it develop gradually and naturally. So if you take this slow and steady wins the race approach, you're actually going to develop your technique at a much faster pace than you may have previously thought. But, you may say, this is only one technique. Practicing this way may improve my spiccato, yes, but how will it improve my violin playing as a whole? Very simply, you have a list of possible techniques that you want to improve on, and you're going to practice each one of these 5 to 10 minutes every day. Now, without me actually working with you directly, I cannot tell you exactly what should be in your list of techniques to be practicing every single day, but I can tell you what I've been up to. So, to start with, of course, I have scales. And if you want a more in-depth explanation on the best way to practice scales, then please check out this video I put out a couple months ago. Now, I do take longer than 5 to 10 minutes a day practicing scales. But that's largely because I'm doing everything in the Flesh book, which, if you're familiar with this book at all, there's a lot more than just one scale for each key. Now, you can see all of these things in this list here, and I'm practicing most of these around 5 to 10 minutes every day. But if you're just starting in on scales and arpeggios, and you're just doing one scale and one arpeggio, then you won't really need to practice them for that long. Just practice them consistently, and as you improve, you can start to add in new scales like scales with double stops. The next two vectors of my technique practice are exercises for the left hand, that does not include scales, and exercises for the bow arm. And almost all of my exercises come from the Big Subject book, which I highly recommend buying if you don't have this already. For my left hand, I systematically work my way through exercises for my hand frame, shifting, chords, and left hand pizzicato. And for bowing, I mostly work through the first book of Subject Opus 2, just systematically going through about a line of exercises every day. And I've also started working my way through the 40 variations, doing about 3 exercises or so a week. And that is basically my technique routine. I have 3 degrees from some very good schools, and even now, after having been out of school for almost a decade, this approach to practicing has improved my technique more in the past 6 months than I ever did in a 6-month period at the Cleveland Institute of Music. Now, this is just a routine for technique. How you practice music is going to be a different video entirely. But starting the style of practice now will start to show some incredible improvements in your technique, which will apply to all aspects of your playing, especially in repertoire. And not that you can't practice repertoire in this manner as well. For instance, as a personal project, I've started learning Chrysler's edition of Paganini's I Palpiti. I have no deadline for this, I'm just trying to do a little bit every day and see how it goes. Mostly because it contains this nonsense. So to finish, if you want to make some incredible progress in your violin playing this year, you're going to want to take the slow, steady, and most importantly, consistent approach to developing your violin technique. Start slowly with just a few individual techniques like whole bows or shifting, and as you progress, add in more as needed. Do this properly, and in 6 months, you'll be shocked at just how much progress you've made. In fact, once you've watched this video, I want you to set your calendar for 6 months from now, and then come back and tell me how much this has improved your playing. I've been Tobias Murphy for Murphy Music Academy, always here to remind you there is no pleasure in mediocrity. Happy practicing, and I'll see you next time.